And joining me now to break it all down for us is our political expert, Tom Seraphin. Tom, thanks for coming in. I always say Tom is a numbers man, so we want to get straight to some of those numbers that you've shared with us. Let's go to the battleground states. What are we seeing right now?
Well, statistically tied. I mean, everybody's +1 or 2 or -1 or 2, but they're all tied up and they're all bunched up together. So it is a horse race all the way down to the wire. Momentum has been trending towards Donald Trump because he's picked up where she had the lead there for a while. Now they've come back together. So going down the stretch, it's anybody's game, but turnout is key. Turnout is key in those battleground states.
And when it comes to turnout, what is the advantage of turnout, particular age groups, rural, suburban, for each candidate?
Well, here, I mean, in the latest poll that came out this morning, as far as turnout is concerned, who's picked up the momentum? Where did Trump get this momentum in the last 10 days? It's from high school educated. 13.9% of the people have moved in his direction there. Black voters, he's picked up 8%. Seniors, he's picked up 8%. She stays steady. She hasn't lost. But he's picking up that momentum, and that's what the national pundits are feeling right now when they talk about the fact that he has momentum. He does have momentum with that group of voters, but they're low propensity voters, so you have to get them out. Does he have that organization? Historically, Republicans have never had a good organization to do that. Democrats have always done a nice job. They say today that the Republicans are getting better at it. We won't know until Tuesday.
Okay, let's talk Electoral College, because this is another map that we're showing that you have shared with us as we look at the numbers. Tell me about this map. What are we seeing, and how did this come about?
Well, you know, this is an interesting map because you see Georgia, you see North Carolina. Some of the people that have been campaigning in both states told me 2 nights ago that we're going to be now focusing on the blue wall being Pennsylvania, being Michigan, and being Wisconsin, even throwing Minnesota in there, because she is very good and strong so far in Michigan and Wisconsin. He's picked up in Pennsylvania. They're kind of even in Pennsylvania, but she has the edge in those other 2 states. And then you have Nevada and Arizona here. It seems to be leaving. It seems to be more Trump country. So they're moving resources into that blue wall. She wins that blue wall, she'll be okay, but she has to win that blue wall. She's losing North Carolina right now, although statistically tied. In Georgia, they're moving some people back up north to that blue wall.
Okay, so let's talk about the Electoral College when it comes to the swing states. If we break those down, is that a different result in numbers?
It is, and you can see the numbers there up on the top. If they played out and trended out this way right now, you'd see the results would be a Trump victory. But that's if the trends continue. And, you know, we still have, 4 or 5 days, 2 countries, 6 centuries before the election. Everything and anything can happen. You saw what happened with the garbage incident 2 days ago.
I want to ask you about that in a minute.
But so there's a lot of time left. So they're working hard, and it's get out the vote. Right now, Democrats have historically had a better get out the vote campaign. So they're in the game. I have a lot of Democratic friends that are kind of down about the results. I said, what are you down about? You know, the Republicans have never proved they can win this kind of Donnybrook. If they do, they do. But right now, it's your game.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because you just mentioned briefly the Trump rally on Sunday, and a lot has been made over the past years, including with Hillary Clinton, about the famous October surprise, okay? Something happens in October that can sway the election to the other candidate. Have we had an October surprise yet? Was the Sunday night Trump rally an October surprise or not?
Well, that was self-inflicted on the Donald Trump people, by the Donald Trump people. So yes, it was there, and they were writing it, but unfortunately President Joe Biden made that kerfuffle the other night when he referred to his people as garbage. And unfortunately, it's everywhere. And he might have died after 48 hours, 36, 48 hours, the way this news cycle goes today. But Donald Trump got into a garbage truck yesterday.
Which was great publicity on his part.
And wearing that vest, I mean, you know, he's a showman. And that's the difference between the 2 campaigns right now. He seems to be having more fun than she does. And she gave a great speech that night in Washington, D.C. She did one of her best performances as a candidate for president. And it was overshadowed by that comment. That was heartbreaking on her staff's point. That was tough to go through.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Latino vote, because right now the Latino vote is the largest ethnic voting bloc in the country. And the comment was made about Puerto Rico being garbage, and Pennsylvania, which is a crucial battleground state, has the largest population of Puerto Ricans. So how much is the Latino vote going to play a role, understanding that Latinos are not monolithic, they all vote different ways, but what kind of difference is that vote going to make in this election?
Well, if the Biden campaign can reach those voters, educate them on what was said at the Trump New York, Madison Square Garden evening show. If they can do that and educate them, it could have an impact. And it might have an impact in those really narrow states. New York should be a blue state. I don't see that going anywhere. In Pennsylvania, a few thousand here, a few thousand there will make a big difference. That could be a big difference if they can go out and find those voters. They're usually not in front of CNN or Fox Television or any other network. They're out there working 3 jobs to make a living, because a lot of them, have families and they work on it. So you have to educate. You have to get that out. So it can have an impact, but you have to reach those voters. And in such a truncated week now, it's tough to do. They have the resources. They have the money. They have so much more money than Donald Trump does. I mean, it's incredible. So they have the resources. They have to get to it.
Yeah, so here it is. I love this, that it's Thursday, and you're saying, oh, we have so much time. The election is Tuesday. A lot can happen between now and Tuesday, as we have learned in the past. And I'm happy to say that Tom is going to be here with us on election night, and we have you covered, whether you get your news on air or online. We're going to be there election night to bring you all of the results, national and local, plus analysis of the races that matter to you. Live coverage all afternoon and all night long on Election Day. That's coming up next Tuesday, including with Tom Seraphin. Tom, thank you so much for coming in. Always great to see you.